Howard Dean is the chairman of the Democratic National Committee and former governor of the state of Vermont. Dr. Dean, good morning to you.
Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for being here. You just heard that Reverend Wright is making headlines again. How much does he complicate your efforts to eventually bring this party together?
Well, you know, I've made it a point not to comment on either of the campaigns, so I'm not going to comment on Reverend Wright, which is all about in this campaign. My focus is John McCain. John McCain wants to stay in Iraq for 100 years. He thinks the economy is the problem of the mortgage holders and not the mortgage lenders. He thinks that we ought not to have health care for our kids. There's a big difference between both Hillary and Clinton and Barack Obama on the one hand and John McCain on the other. So I'm not going to get into the Obama versus Clinton stuff.
But race has certainly become a key element in this campaign on both sides. You can't ignore that.
I'm not totally convinced that it is a key element, Andrea. I think that people make up their minds on a variety of issues, and I think they'll continue to do that. But again, there's a big difference. The biggest difference on this campaign is not between Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. It's between John McCain, who's a candidate of the past, candidate that offers us 4 more years of George Bush, and either of our two candidates who are really going to be agents of change.
But first you have to have somebody nominated, and you're hoping to see this nomination wrapped up by June. How optimistic are you that that will happen?
I think it will happen. I think we've got 9 more primaries. I think we're going to get through those. We've got 2 really big ones coming up a week from tomorrow. And then there's 500 of the 800 unpledged delegates have already said who they're for. I think the remaining 300 will do that by the end of June, and we'll know who our nominee is, and that's what we need to do.
But if you listen to Senators Clinton and Obama over the past few days, they've been arguing over what criteria the superdelegates should use to make their selection. And Clinton is suggesting that it's the person who has the most votes, popular votes, and that she has those if you count Michigan and Florida. Barack Obama is saying, no, it's the person who has the most pledged delegates. But if I understand the rules right, the superdelegates don't have to abide by any of those criteria.
The rules say that the delegates can vote their conscience, and they're superdelegates, and they will vote their conscience. Most of the time, in fact, all of the time, in my personal experience, they have voted for the person with the most pledged delegates. But that's not in the rules, and they can do. I think what they're going to do is vote for the person they think can beat John McCain. Look, we've just got a new ad out on McCain's position on the war. It's so far away from where Americans want to be that I just can't imagine how they're going to elect John McCain. The only way that John McCain wins this race is if Democrats are not united. We need to be united in order to win. We need a new direction for this country, and again, John McCain offers the past.
But right now you are not united, sir. That's very clear.
Well, we've got a race going on. As soon as we finish that race, then we'll be united.
But what you talked about the superdelegates following the will of the pledged delegates. If they don't do that this time, and as you said, they don't have to, there is the possibility of a perception that the race was stolen. How do you ensure that it was not, to the person who loses? How do you ensure that it was fair?
That's exactly what I'm doing. I stand up for what the rules of the party are. You may or may not like the rules, but both candidates knew what the rules were when we started. They both have campaigns among pledged and unpledged delegates. And my job is to uphold the rules without fear or favor of any candidates. Look, somebody's going to lose this race with 49% of the delegates. We can't win the presidency without those 49% that represent the candidate that doesn't win. And so I need to make sure that whoever loses feels that they've been treated fairly and respectfully. And that's my job, and that's what I'm going to do.
Have you spoken to the 2 candidates, taken them aside and said, look, if you lose, I expect you to go out there and campaign vigorously for the other one?
I don't think I need to do that. Look, when I lost to John Kerry, I didn't need to be told that this was about something that was greater than me. This was about the country. And I worked very hard for John Kerry, and it took me about 3 months to get my folks to change their position and not support me, but support John Kerry for the presidency, because it was about what was good for America. And I think either of these candidates are experienced public servants, and they know, without being told by me or anybody else, that their obligation is to their country. And I think that they will do that very thing. As soon as they know that they aren't going to win, they're going to support the other candidate.
All right, Howard Dean, thank you very much.
Thank you.